welcome to another edition of News on the Hour. I'm Rukma with you, and over the next 60 minutes, I'll be taking you through all the latest developments in news from across India, the world, from the world of sports, business, and much, much more. At the very beginning, I'd like to wish all our viewers a very happy Diwali on behalf of all of us here on DD India. So let's begin with the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi returns to New Delhi after a 5-day visit to the UK and Italy today to hold review meeting with district magistrates of over 40 districts in Jharkhand, Manipur, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Maharashtra, Meghalaya and other states, with districts having low vaccination coverage via video conferencing. Envisioning a global ecosystem of interconnected renewable energy green grids, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches the Green Grids Initiative, One Sun, One World, One Grid, jointly with UK Premier Boris Johnson at COP26. ISRO to develop solar calculator to measure energy potential of any region in the world, says PM Modi. $107.29 crore vaccine doses administered so far under nationwide vaccination drive, 11,903 new cases in last 24 hours. Recovery rate currently at 98.22%, highest since March 2020. Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs announces National Sports Awards 2021. President to give away the awards on 13th November this year. Deepotsav at Ayodhya today to light 9 lakh earthen lamps on the banks of the river Saryu and 3 lakh lamps in parts of the temple town to celebrate the festival. WHO to discuss emergency use of Covaxin, seeks more clarification from vaccine maker to conduct final EUL risk-benefit assessment for global use of Covaxin. US President Joe Biden attacks China and Russia for skipping UN climate summit in Glasgow, accuses both of walking away from a gigantic issue. India to take on Afghanistan in Group 2 Super 12 match of ICC Men's T20 World Championship at Sheikh Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi today. And in a top story, Prime Minister Narendra Modi returned to New Delhi after a successful 5-day visit to Italy and Britain just a short while back. The Prime Minister launched 2 climate initiatives, participated in the B3W event and held several bilateral meetings during his Glasgow visit. In an effort to build resilience, PM Modi launched Infrastructure for Resilient Island States at COP26. IRIS aims at achieving sustainable development through a systematic approach to resilient, sustainable and inclusive infrastructure in small island developing states. More in this report. Highlighting India's efforts to combat climate change, the Prime Minister stated that India is the only major economy that has worked and delivered on the Paris commitments both in letter and spirit. In an exclusive conversation with DD India, Prime Minister of Mauritius Pravind Kumar Jugnauth hailed PM Modi's leadership in the launch of the Infrastructure for Resilient Island States or IRIS initiative and thanked PM Modi for being the voice of small island states. Let's listen in to more of what the Prime Minister of Mauritius said.
Joining me is the Prime Minister of Mauritius, Pravind Jugnauth, to talk about the initiative of IRIS under CDRIs, about the latest initiative of IRIS, which is expected to help the island states in resilient infrastructure. How do you think this is going to be a massive game changer?
Well, let me first of all salute and congratulate the initiative of Shri Narendra Modi for setting up this fund in order to support infrastructural projects, mainly for small island developing states like Mauritius. As you know, the small island developing states are the most vulnerable ones. We need to adopt a number of measures in order to face those challenges. Very happy that such initiatives is in line with the request of small island developing states.
Prime Minister talking about climate justice being one of the major talking points. Do you believe that this COP will actually heed to those words, and by the time the declaration comes, climate justice will be the buzzword?
Well, everybody agrees that there is a need for urgent action. We are already late, so the urgency is such that we need now to take commitments, and we need also to see to it that those commitments are being translated concretely into action. That is why we look upon the leadership of the bigger economies, and we look at the leadership of those who can influence others, so that, as you say, the voice of small island developing states can be better heard. So we are pleased to see that the interventions of so many world leaders goes in that direction. And I'm looking forward now that especially access to finance will become more of a reality.
Appreciate your time. So that was the Mauritius Prime Minister telling us that it is imperative. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been leading from the front, but it is important that more finances is provided to small island states in order to fight the issues of climate change. With Camera Person Praveen Jha, this is Tapash Bhattacharya for TD India, Glasgow.
Speaking exclusively to DD India, Vice President Executive of the Climate Change Council of Dominican Republic, Dr. Max Pui, also hailed Prime Minister Narendra Modi's IRIS initiative, saying the initiative will help the Dominican Republic a lot. He also said that both the countries need to come together to fight climate change.
Joining me is Dr. Max Pui, the Vice President Executive of the Climate Change Council of Dominican Republic, to talk about the COP26, which is currently going on in Glasgow. First, I'd like to ask you about this particular COP26 and how much it is important for a country like Dominican Republic.
But I think it is very important. We appreciate very much initiative from Prime Minister of India, Mr. Modi, who explained Indian politics on climate change, and I think this politics is not only appreciated by Dominican Republic, but it's appreciated by many countries in the world. I think of International Solar Alliance. I think also at CDRI, resilience, infrastructure resilience. And I think that the speech of Mr. Modi about resilience in island developing states this morning, it was very much appreciated by all island states in the world.
What are the major steps that needs to be taken by the Dominican Republic, or for that matter even India, getting both the countries together in this fight against climate change?
Yes, I think that it's a very important cooperation between two countries, because I think that India has many knowledge. We can improve our practice with Indian experience.
So you believe that with India's expertise, Dominican Republic will also get to know a lot more, and it will help them also?
Absolutely. I think that we have many possibilities to work together, and it's important because the Indian presence in Dominican Republic is it's important to improve the relationship between India and all the countries of the Caribbean and Central America.
Appreciate your time. So that was Dr. Maxwell was telling us that it is important that both the Dominican Republic and India work together in this fight for climate change. With camera person Praveen Chaudhary, this is Tapush Bhattacharya for TD India, Glasgow.
Immediately after returning to India after attending the G20 summit and COP26, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold a review meeting with districts with low vaccination coverage at 12 noon today via video conferencing. The meeting will include districts with less than 50% coverage of the first dose and low coverage of the second dose of the COVID vaccine. The Prime Minister will interact with district magistrates of over 40 districts in Jharkhand, Manipur, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Maharashtra, Meghalaya and other states with districts having low vaccination coverage. Chief Ministers of these states will also be present on the occasion. An update now on the nationwide COVID-19 vaccination drive. The vaccination coverage in India has crossed the 107 crore landmark milestone. Over 107 crore 29 lakh vaccine doses have been administered across the country so far. More than 41 lakh vaccine doses were administered in the past 24 hours. And now a look at the COVID-19 situation from across India. The recovery of 14,159 patients in the past 24 hours has increased the cumulative tally of recovered patients to 3 crore 36 lakhs 97,740. Consequently, our recovery rate now stands at 98.22%. 11,903 new cases were reported in the past 24 hours. Active cases account for less than 1% of total cases, presently constituting 0.44% of total positive cases, the lowest since March 2020. Testing capacity has been enhanced across the country. Weekly positivity rate at 1.18% remains less than 2% for the past 39 days now. Daily positivity rate is reported to be 1.11%. Daily positivity rate has remained below 2% for the past 30 days and weekly positivity rate stands at 1.18%, which is less than 2% for now nearly 40 days. Union Education Minister Narendra Pradhan on Tuesday reviewed the vaccination status of teachers across India and the reopening of schools. He reviewed the vaccination status in the skilling ecosystem as well. Education Minister has been regularly monitoring the vaccination of teaching staff and non-teaching staff to ensure an enabling environment for schools to move towards reopening. He has stressed upon the need to restore normalcy and vibrancy in educational institutions in the wake of rapid vaccination at the scale happening in the country. As of date, a majority of states have already opened schools for all classes, and over 92% of teaching staff have been vaccinated. In institutions under the central government, over 96% of teaching staff have been vaccinated. The Union Health Ministry has rushed high-level teams to 9 states and union territories reporting high caseload of dengue to support them in public health measures for control and management of dengue in these states. This is in accordance with directions of Union Minister for Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, during the review meeting on the dengue situation in Delhi on 1st November 2021. These states and union territories are Haryana, Kerala, Punjab, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Delhi and Jammu and Kashmir. The Union Health Minister had directed the Health Ministry to extend help to all the states and union territories with high incidence of dengue cases. A total of 1,16,991 cases have been reported by states and union territories. So far, expert teams include officials from the National Centre for Disease Control and National Vector-Borne Disease Control Programme. The teams have been tasked to assist and support states to mount an effective public health response. They have been asked to report on the status of vector control, availability of kits and medicines, early detection, availability and use of insecticides, status of anti-larval and anti-adult vector control measures, and will also brief state health authorities about their observations. The Defence Acquisition Council, under the chairmanship of Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, accorded acceptance of necessity for capital acquisition proposals for modernization and operational needs of the armed forces amounting to 7,965 crore rupees. All of these proposals are under Make in India, with a focus on design, development and manufacturing in India. Key approvals of procurement from domestic sources include 12 light utility helicopters from Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, Lynx U-2 fire control system from Bharat Electronics Limited, which will enhance the detection, tracking and engagement capabilities of naval warships, and midlife upgradation of the Dornier aircraft from HAL to increase the naval capacity of maritime recce and coastal surveillance. As a further impetus to Atmanirbhar Bharat, a global procurement case of naval guns has been foreclosed, with these guns quantity added to the upgraded super rapid gun mount being manufactured by Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited. These SRGMs provide niche capabilities of engaging fast maneuvering targets using guided munitions and range extensions, and are to be fitted on the warships of the Indian Navy. And back home, Diwali is here, and on the occasion of Dhanteras, Union Home Minister and Minister of Cooperation Amit Shah on Tuesday launched the Ayushman CAPF scheme health cards at the national level in New Delhi. The Union Home Minister launched the scheme, handing over the Ayushman cards to personnel. He also handed over Ayushman CAPF scheme health cards to Director General NSG for distribution to NSG personnel. Today on the auspicious occasion of Dhanvantari Puja, which is celebrated in honor of the god of medicine, the process of distribution of health cards across CAPFs has begun. From Tuesday onwards, health cards distribution will be undertaken in all CAPFs, and the number of cards distributed will be displayed on the website of the Ministry of Home Affairs on a daily basis. The distribution of nearly 35 lakh cards will be completed by December 2021. The Union Home Minister had launched Ayushman CAPF scheme on a pilot basis in the state of Assam on the 23rd of January this year to provide healthcare services to all Central Armed Police Force personnel and their dependents. The scheme is a joint initiative of the Ministry of Home Affairs and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and National Health Authority. The second India-Japan Space Dialogue was held in virtual mode on Tuesday. The Indian delegation was co-led by Joint Secretary, Disarmament and International Security Affairs, Ministry of External Affairs and Scientific Secretary, ISRO, while the Japanese delegation was co-led by Deputy Assistant Minister, Foreign Policy Bureau, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Policy Planning and International Security Policy, and Director General, National Space Policy Secretariat, Cabinet Office. The two sides exchanged information on their respective space policies and priorities, international developments in space domain, including space security, space situational awareness, global navigation satellite systems, and bilateral cooperation between ISRO, JAXA, space industries, and technology trade. And it's time now for a short break. But there's more up ahead here on DDA India, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Namaste India.
Namaste land.
Marhaban ilal Hind.
Zari India.
Salam India.
Namaste India.
Namaskar Bharata.
Muy
Nous sommes
India.
land.
Nahnu Hunud.
India.
माँ हिंदी हस्ती
Hindian.
Salam Hindustan.
We are India.
your window to rising India. India's voice on global platforms. Latest news from India and around the world. In-depth analysis of global headlines. Watch DD India in your country. Available for downlink in all Southeast Asian countries. STTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 17 at 93.5 degrees east. HDTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 10 at 83 degrees east. For technical details, scan here. Switch to DD India now.
Welcome back after the break. In other news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Kedarnath, one of the four famous, most revered Hindu shrines in Uttarakhand on the 5th of November. PM Modi will offer prayers at the temple there and will thereafter inaugurate Sri Adi Shankaracharya Samadhi, unveiling the statue of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Ahead of the Prime Minister's visit to Kedarnath temple, our correspondent Vishal Baristo spoke to tourists on the Prime Minister's coming visit and infrastructure development there. Let's listen in.
The stage is all set to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi here at Kedarnath, and I have some youngsters. They are all from Himachal and they are having a very good time. First of all, let me ask them, what are they dancing at? Which dance is it?
It is Nati, folk dance of Himachal Pradesh. So we are very excited about it कि हाँ मोदी जी आ रहे हैं और वैसे भी यहाँ मतलब अलग सी शांति है.
There's different kind of peace here. What kind of infrastructural development did you witness?
After the flood, the construction developed by the government, very good. They're like shelters and the helicopter facilities and the tenting, जो रुकने के लिए यहाँ पे टेंटिंग पिचिंग जो की गई है वो भी बहुत अच्छी है. मतलब काफ़ी उन्होंने, तो मैं यही बोलूँगा कि हमारी जो गवर्नमेंट है उन्होंने काफ़ी अच्छा यहाँ पे कंस्ट्रक्शन किया है and it's all good.
Road is also very good. In fact, some jeeps are also coming till here. So that is very good improvement. And if we want to take our elders also here, then we can use heli taxi. So that is also available and frequency is also very good and rates are also very economical. Whole place, you have the spiritual excitement here. You have the excitement of Diwali. Signing off with Ajay Mishra, this is Vishal Baristo, DD News, Kedarnath.
And the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has announced the National Sports Awards for this year. The awardees will receive their honours from the President at a function in Rashtrapati Bhavan on the 13th of November. National Sports Awards are given away every year to recognise and reward excellence in sports. 12 sportspersons will be honoured with the Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna Award. The Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna Award is given for spectacular and most outstanding performance in the field of sports by a sportsperson over a period of 4 years. 35 sportspersons will receive Arjuna Awards for outstanding performance in sports and games. The Dronacharya Award for outstanding coaches in sports and games will be given to 5 coaches in the lifetime category, while 5 others will receive the honour in the regular category. 5 sports personalities will be honoured with the Dhyan Chand Award for lifetime achievement in sports and games. Rashtriya Khel Protsahan Puraskar and Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Trophy will also be given on the occasion. Pollution levels in the national capital have entered the red zone. Weather experts warn that it will only get worse, potentially deteriorating to the severe category from very poor if the ban on the use of firecrackers is flouted. And some news now from down south. Kerala's Sabrimala temple has reopened for the Chitira Atta Vishesham Puja. After completing puja in connection with Chitira Atta Vishesham, the temple will close at 9 this evening. Devotees are allowed to enter the temple by a virtual queue booking system and have to produce either a 2-dose vaccination certificate or RT-PCR negative certificate issued within 72 hours to enter the temple. Sabrimala temple will reopen again for a 2-month-long pilgrim season on the 15th of November. And now a look at updates on COVID-19 from across the world. As COVID continues to batter the world with the number of cases spiking suddenly in several countries including Russia and China recently. So far the virus has infected more than 24 crore 82 lakh people across the world. The number of recoveries from COVID has crossed 22 crore 49 lakhs worldwide, while fatalities stand at above 50 lakh 28,000. The United States remains the worst affected with the highest number of cases and death toll, numbering over 4 crore to 69 lakh cases and losing more than 7 lakh 68,000 lives so far. A World Health Organization technical committee is scheduled to meet today for a closely watched decision on giving an emergency use listing or EUL to Covaxin. This will help pave the way for people who have taken the dose to qualify for vaccine mandates in other countries. The panel, WHO's Technical Advisory Group for Emergency Use Listing, TAG EUL, has sought more clarification from the vaccine maker. TAG EUL is an independent advisory group that provides recommendations to WHO on whether a COVID-19 vaccine can be listed for emergency use under the EUL procedure. The Dutch government on Tuesday decided to reimpose measures including the wearing of face masks aimed at slowing the latest spike in COVID-19 infections, as per Prime Minister Mark Rutte. The use of a corona pass showing proof of a COVID-19 vaccine or recent negative coronavirus test would be broadened as of November 6th to public places, which include museums, gyms and outdoor terraces. Coronavirus infections in the Netherlands have been rising for a month ever since most social distancing measures were scrapped in late September and reached their highest level since July in the past week. This has forced many hospitals to cut back on regular care again to make room for urgent COVID cases. Meanwhile, a German Air Force medevac plane landed in Romania on Tuesday to begin intensive care treatment on patients with severe COVID-19. The first 6 patients were due to be taken to German hospitals for care by the Airbus A310, a flying intensive care unit with around 20 medical personnel to care for the patients during the course of the flight. 3 flights are expected to transport a capacity of 6 patients per flight until Wednesday. In Romania, daily COVID-19 inoculation numbers have reached pandemic highs this month as citizens and politicians alike respond to dramatic death rates and newly enforced restrictions. Bangkok's once bustling Khao San Road has been a shadow of its former self since the arrival of the COVID-19 pandemic last year. But business owners are hoping Thailand's reopening to tourism this week will soon restore its buzz. The early signs, however, are that they may need to wait a little longer. Thailand, one of Asia-Pacific's most popular tourist destinations, has enforced strict entry curbs in the past 18 months. Although from Monday, vaccinated travelers from more than 60 countries are allowed to visit without having to quarantine. Before the pandemic, Khao San Road was heaving with people on weekends and at night. Tattoo parlors, street vendors, hostels and buzzing nightlife drawing budget travelers and tour groups alike. Business along Khao San Road has been on pause for the past 18 months with only 10% able to remain open. Despite this week's relaxation, some restrictions remain. The US and the European Union have announced a global partnership to cut emissions of greenhouse gas methane by 2030. EU Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen and US President Joe Biden made the announcement at the COP26 summit on Tuesday. The global methane pledge aims to limit methane emissions by 30% compared with 2020 levels. It is one of the most potent greenhouse gases, responsible for a third of current warming from human activities. More than 100 countries have signed up to the initiative, first proposed by the US and the EU in September. The main focus of efforts to curb global warming is carbon dioxide emitted as a result of human activities, such as generating power and clearing forests. US President Joe Biden on Tuesday said pledges made over the two-day Leaders Summit at the UN Climate Conference were an example of the type of ambition needed in the future. Leaders at the COP26 Global Climate Conference pledged on Tuesday to stop deforestation by the end of the decade and cut emissions of the potent greenhouse gas methane to help slow climate change. Biden chided Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russia's Vladimir Putin for their decision not to attend in person. Meanwhile, China said Xi had not been given an opportunity to deliver a video address and had to send a written response instead. China was represented in Glasgow by its chief climate negotiator, Shi Zhenhua, who said in remarks that 5 years were wasted because Biden's predecessor Donald Trump pulled the United States out of the Paris Agreement and it was time to work harder and catch up.
The fact that China, trying to assert, understandably, a new role in the world as a world leader, not showing up, come on. The single most important thing that's gotten the attention of the world is climate. Everywhere. From Iceland to Australia to, it just is a gigantic issue. And they've walked away. How do you do that and claim to be able to have any leadership mantle? The same with Putin and Russia. His tundra is burning. He's in literally the tundra is burning. He has serious climate problems, and he is mum on the willingness to do anything.
With climate change and climate protection on every leader's mind right now, veteran American film actor and singer-songwriter Paul Hampton has issued a musical plea to the heads of state in Glasgow in the form of a new song and video. Hampton's latest work, Heal Us All, is a heartfelt plea to world leaders gathering in Glasgow for the crucial United Nations climate talks. Heal Us All was played outside a church not far from the climate talks venue on the banks of the Clyde with the Glasgow Youth Choir. Listen in.
The clouds are hiding the sun from view. We pray for a new day to come shining through. See us, hear us, feel us, heal us. See us, hear us, feel us, heal us. See us, hear us, feel us, heal us.
And Greenland's government has said on Tuesday it has taken a first step towards joining the Paris Agreement on climate and aims to develop the Arctic island's vast hydropower potential. The semi-sovereign territory in the Kingdom of Denmark, with a population of just 57,000 people, will not commit to any specific targets for reducing emissions. Its government, elected in April on an environmental platform, said the mineral-rich island has seen increasing interest from global mining companies. The government has banned future oil and gas exploration, pledging to halt development of a large rare earth deposit in the south of the country. Although that decision must still be ratified by its national parliament. Representatives from nearly 200 countries are meeting in Glasgow in Scotland, met in Glasgow in Scotland from October 31st to November 12th to flesh out the rules of a new global climate pact. And according to the World Meteorological Organization, the United Nations Weather Research Service record atmospheric greenhouse gas concentrations and warm weather have propelled the planet into uncharted territory. Speaking at a news conference at COP26 in Glasgow, WMO Secretary General Professor Petteri Tala said the past 7 years were on track to be the warmest on record, as were gas concentrations in the atmosphere. The provisional WMO State of the Global Climate 2021 report, based on data for the first 9 months of 2021, also warned that global sea level rise has accelerated since 2013 to a new high in 2021, with continued ocean warming and ocean acidification.
We have again broken records in the main greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane and nitrous oxide, and despite of the lockdowns last year, the real atmospheric concentrations of those gases were growing, and we broke again a record in carbon dioxide concentration, and carbon dioxide is the most important greenhouse gas, contributing 2/3 of the warming so far, and its lifetime is very long. So that's the main problem that we are having when it comes to climate change and warming.
As November begins, many places around the world have started witnessing chilly weather. In Bolivia, a strong hailstorm hit Tarija on Sunday, causing floods and damage across the southern Bolivian city. Hail reached as high as 1.5 meters in some places, heavily affecting private residences and businesses near Tarija's commercial area. Local authorities worked non-stop to help those affected. The mayor's office reported the collection of 5,000 tons of ice from the streets. Crops around the area were reported as complete losses due to the heavy rains. In Colombia, at least 12 people lost their lives in Malama after several homes collapsed under a landslide. The landslide was caused by heavy rains in the rural town of the Narendra municipality. 2 homes were destroyed in the tragedy. Municipal authorities reported 11 people were rescued alive in the rubble, 2 of whom are in a critical state and receiving medical assistance. Rescue teams are sorting through the rubble in the search, with an unidentified number of people still unaccounted for. And here on News on the Hour, it's time for another very short break. More up ahead. Stay tuned and keep watching DD India.
As the day unfolds and news and events take shape, we get you complete coverage of every news breaking in, tracking new developments as they happen. Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching news on the hour and some business news now. Wall Street's main stock indices closed at their highest levels ever on Tuesday, lifted by strong earning reports from companies including Under Armour and Pfizer. It was the fourth straight session of record high closes for the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. Among the 11 S&P 500 sector indices, materials led with a 1.1% gain, while energy was the deepest decliner, down about 1%. With Tuesday's rally, the S&P 500 is now up about 23% in 2021. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 138.79 points, 36,052.63. The S&P 500 gained 16.98 points to 4,630.65, and the Nasdaq Composite added 53.69 points to 15,649.60. In cricket, Team India will be up against Team Afghanistan in their third and must-win match at the T20 Cricket World Cup today. Take a look at our next report to know all about India's match against Afghanistan.
After losing their crucial match against Pakistan and New Zealand, Team India will now be up against Team Afghanistan in their third Group B match of the ongoing T20 Cricket World Cup. In this match against Afghanistan, the team would look forward to open their winning account and factor in the possibilities of making it to the semi-finals of T20 Cricket World Cup by aiming to win all group stage matches from here onwards. Having taken only 2 wickets together so far with their struggling performance in the previous 2 matches against Pakistan and New Zealand, a change in the playing 11 can also be expected by Team India against Afghanistan, with mulling few takeaways from their previous 2 losses in group stage matches. Talking about Afghanistan, the team brags 2 victories and 1 loss in 3 matches played in the tournament so far. Afghanistan's bowling could pose serious problems for the Indian team, where Rashid Khan and Mujibur Rahman will be aiming to put their best. In the T20 World Cup records, India and Afghanistan have met twice so far, where the Indian team has won both the times. However, India this time not just needs to win against Afghanistan, but need to score big too in order to improve their net run rate, which is yet another factor to make it to the semi-finals. And if we talk about the pitch of the Sheikh Zayed Cricket Stadium, where both the teams will play against each other, then the surface has been a little difficult to bat on, whereas obtaining swing on this pitch will be a difficult task as well. Till now, 160 has been a good total at this venue. However, the batters should be able to score some easy runs in the power play. The pitch is expected to get slower as the day progresses, and as the upcoming matches is an evening affair, the dew will again play a crucial role too, which has been the case with Team India in the previous 2 matches as well. Sports Desk, DD India.
And the 5-day-long Festival of Lights is being celebrated across the country. In Uttar Pradesh, the 5th edition of Deepotsav is being celebrated in Ayodhya. In an attempt to surpass its own Diwali record, the state government will light up the holy city of Ayodhya with 12 lakh earthen lamps. Ram Ki Paidi Ghat is dotted with colorful lights for the mega celebrations. The Ghat is the main venue of this Deepotsav celebrations, which will be illuminated with 12 lakh earthen lamps, 9 lakh of which will be lit on the banks of the river Saryu. The 9 lakh earthen diyas will illuminate the Ghat, and the majestic Ram Ki Paidi was dotted with colorful diyas for the mega festivities. When we last saw, the Ghat is the main venue of the celebrations, and it will be illuminated with 9 lakh earthen diyas this evening. The Ayodhya administration and the Uttar Pradesh Tourism Department have mobilized 12,000 volunteers for the task of lighting the diyas. 32 other ghats in Ayodhya will also be illuminated with earthen lamps. For the first time, the state government is organizing an aerial drone show. Around 500 drones will draw various features from the Ramayana on the skyline in Ayodhya. In addition to this, 3D holographic shows, 3D projection mapping and laser shows at Ramkiperi on the banks of the river Sario will also be held. Ahead of the Festival of Lights, Uttarakhand's Badrinath temple is under a veil of gold. The popular temple has been decorated with 10 quintals of marigolds for the festive occasion. And decorative lights and earthen lamps adorn the Hazrat Nizamuddin Aulia Dargah in the national capital on the occasion of Diwali on Tuesday. Devotees and followers visit the Dargah during festivals. Many were spotted visiting the Dargah, lighting diyas to mark Diwali and offering their prayers. So the festive spirit pervading the entire country. Diwali, the festival of lights, being celebrated at every iconic center, place of worship, people lighting diyas, ushering in hope and the spirit of the season. And not just in India, but across our borders too. In New York, the city's iconic World Trade Center is showcasing a spectacular digital mural with fireworks over the Hudson River for an amazing 3-day all-American Diwali celebration for the first time in history. Cross Tower, a leading crypto exchange with a presence in both the US and India, has partnered with the South Asian Engagement Forum for the event from November 2nd through November 4th. Combining the American tradition of viewing fireworks with the Indian Festival of Lights, a fireworks display will take place on the River Hudson and be available via live stream on November 3rd at 5 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Let's take a look at this inaugural video of the All-American Diwali celebration. And with electrifying festive energy all over the nation ahead of the Festival of Lights, streets around the country are flooded with multicolored lighting and festive fervor. As we go and end this edition of News on the Hour, we leave you with these glittering visuals. Wish you a very happy Choti Diwali. Thanks for watching. Namaskar. Have a great day.